Hey everyone, welcome back to AI with Pallavi. Ready to learn another AWS service in just 10 minutes? Let's get started. Let's learn Amazon CloudFront. We need to understand that whichever services, websites, and the applications which we are using are actually have some content delivery network at the backend. Now, this content delivery network actually helps you to understand that whether your app is slow or it's fast. So, even if you are at a completely different location where your app is hosted on, you will be able to get the seamless response. Now, let's understand that this CDN for AWS, what does that mean? CloudFront is actually a service which has major six components. The first thing is edge locations. Now, these edge locations are pretty useful. So, they are the locations which actually connects your CloudFront to different client networks. So, let's say you are in Mumbai and trying to access a website which is hosted on US region or North Virginia region, right? So, there will be multiple POPs or edge locations in between, which will be useful to connect your request to those systems. Now, it's not that the request actually needs to travel via internet because it might cause some delays. So that is the reason we have CDNs into place. Now, there can be multiple origins behind this CloudFront. It can be S3, it can be ALBs, it can be EC2, and much more. You can also configure your settings like cache, TTL, and other settings within the distribution configuration. It also helps you to enable path-based rules, right? So let's say some of the requests needs to go via S3, some of the requests needs to go to some other location. So that's how it differentiates. Also, it provides a security layer. Now, the security layer is also pretty useful. It helps you to control access to your backend systems like S3, ALBs, API gateways, etc. Now, let's say you want to perform some operations on your functions. Let's say if you want to run your Lambda functions, you can also associate those with CloudFront. Now, you can have Lambda Edge functions or CloudFront functions, which are entirely different. But for long term, let's say long running functions, you can use Lambda Edge, and for sub-millisecond functions, you can use CloudFront functions. So, these are pretty useful to actually run some custom code whenever a request comes in. Let's say you want to change the header, you want to route the request to some other location based on the incoming parameters and things like that. So that's how you can actually configure your CloudFront distribution. Now let's see how this actually works and what you need to do. So first, you need to actually put your content in an S3 bucket or an HTTP server. Like you can add the images also added there and different objects. Then you need to create a web distribution, that is Amazon CloudFront distribution. And once you create the distribution and associate your origin as these S3 buckets and HTTP server, you can then make this Amazon CloudFront distribution accessible. Like basically you deploy it, and once you deploy it, the configuration of your Amazon CloudFront distribution actually goes to the edge location. So next time if someone calls your CloudFront distribution, it actually points to the new configuration which you have added. So all the edge locations will receive this configuration and they will be able to access your particular CloudFront distribution. So that's how it actually works. So once that is done, the other thing which you need to take care of is the distribution configuration. Now, this involves the actual path-based behavior. Let's say you have created a distribution for your site.com and you're trying to make a get call for this particular URL. CloudFront actually matches this against the behaviors created. Behaviors is nothing but the path-based routing which you set up. Now, if it is /images/star, right, it needs to route to an S3 bucket with a specific TTL of 24 hours, because if you have static images, they barely change. Then if it is an API based backend, that is an ALB, which is dynamic in nature, you set the TTL accordingly. Or all the requests where there is no behavior configured, you just send it to default. So the default behavior actually accepts all the requests and send it to S3 bucket. Okay, and that's how you can make changes within your distribution. So single distribution can have multiple roles, and don't confuse this with API gateways, which is entirely different thing. This is majorly to configure the network settings of how the requests are reaching your backend systems like S3, ALB, and much more. So based on your path which you have configured, it actually changes. Now let's look at in real world how it works. You have written example.com. It goes to the nearest edge location, right? It does not find the data there. So there is no cache response and this is the first request it received. Then it will go to the origin. So it goes to origin, try to get the data, and then once it gets the data, it goes back to edge location, saves it there based on your cache settings, and then returns the response to the user. So if let's say it would have been second request, then the path would be 1, 2, and 3, right? But in this case, if the request is not there, the path is 1, 2, 3A, 3B, 3C, right? Because it could not find that edge location there and it went there. Now, how CloudFront actually is created is, this is the boundary of CloudFront. You have edge locations and regional edge caches. So the caching actually happens at the region level. And you can see the viewers is actually making the request to your CloudFront distribution. It reaches the nearest edge location. It's within the AWS network, and then if they found the data in regional edge cache, it passes there. If it doesn't find the data, it goes back to the origin, get the data, and respond back. So that's how it works. That's how CloudFront actually works. It passes it on and get the data. Now, there are different use cases which you generally see with CloudFront. You can serve static NSPA kind of application. You can have caching, right? Caching the API responses at the edge. Then you can have on-demand video streaming. So the matches which you see, right, the live matches, most of them video streaming is via CloudFront or any other CDN network. So it's important to understand this concept overall, how this works. Then you have security and shield layers as well, which actually helps. Now, these four use cases, if you start implementing them, you will understand what difference CloudFront actually brings, how it seamlessly helps to give the responses without any delays. The edge locations are super useful in this case because the edge locations actually helps in caching. They helps the request to come inside the AWS network pretty fast, and then they also help to actually connect seamlessly with the client request, client location to edge location, then to regional edge caches and to the origin. So the connection becomes very seamless in this case. Now let's quickly see the request flow. The user sends a request if it finds the data in one of the 450 POPs, right, in nearest edge location, it gets that, serves it instantly. If it's a cache miss, right, you get metrics also associated with that. So if you want to see the metrics, you can see if it's a cache miss and shield is enabled, it goes to shield first, then it goes to origin, get the data and send it to edge. Edge caches it and then send it further. So every nearby user after this gets the data, right? One fetch from origin and one fetch directly. Now, this is one of the critical piece which I want to highlight. This is related to the decisions which you generally have to take during your certification exams, like what is the difference between CloudFront versus Global Accelerator, then OAC versus Legacy OI, because these are very confusing terms if someone is new to this space. So CloudFront caches at the edge, but Global Accelerator routes the TCP and UDP traffic of our AWS backbone network. Similarly with OAC and Legacy OI. Then you have Lambda Edge and CloudFront function differences, right? Lambda Edge, full runtime, up to 5-second execution, can call other AWS services. Then you have CloudFront functions, which are JS only, sub MS execution, viewer request, response only. So all these differences are there. Signed URLs versus signed cookies, price class, right? There are different price class also provided by CloudFront, like price class 100, price class 200, then invalidation. Now, invalidation works instantly, but it costs money past the free tier and doesn't scale well for frequent deploys. If you have frequent deploys and you don't want invalidation, then you need to use version file names. Now, why invalidation? Let's say you have deployed something and your edge locations have cached it already, then if you changes, your client will still receive the same kind of data. Now let's go ahead and see how we can create a CloudFront distribution. Okay, so it's pretty easy. You just go to CloudFront console. You will see there are different tiers available: free tier, premium, business, pro. Just choose the free tier. Go ahead, create the distribution, give it a name, then give it a description. There is single website app or multi-tenant architecture as well there, so you can choose. Then accordingly you have route 53, managed domain, and other things which you can choose from. Now with this settings, you can just go ahead and create your CloudFront distribution. You also need to select the origin. So you can have S3, ELB, API gateway, and other origins as well, which you can use. And then this will help you to connect to your backend origins. So I will just select S3 here. I will just give my S3 bucket name. Then I will give my origin path. Remember that once you create the origin path, all the requests to that origin slash path will be sent, right? So you will have to ensure that you choose the right path, otherwise sometimes the request does not lands up correctly. You can also allow private S3 bucket access in this case, and that will help you to reach out to the private S3 bucket as well. You can enable WAF as well based on security. The WAF pricing is different, so ensure that you calculate that as well, because if you enable WAF, the pricing would be different a little bit. Once that is done, your CloudFront distribution will be created. You can just confirm the details and it's created. And once it's created also, you can go ahead and edit the origin. So there are multiple settings, whether you want public access for origin, you can enable mutual TLS as well, you can add the custom header. So all these features are available. Similarly, you can also enable or edit the configuration of behavior as well: HTTP request, non-HTTP request, and then function association. So all that configuration needs to be done at behavior level, because let's say if it is default behavior, which function you would like to trigger and not. So based on that, I just have a CloudFront distribution. I just gave the key of one of the object I have in my bucket, and I was able to get that.
And just like that, you have learned another AWS service in 10 minutes. Hit that subscribe button if you like this video, and